Having the ability to work remotely is something many people dream of doing, and if you're watching this video, it is most likely something that you're either currently doing or something that you're working towards achieving. But remote work is not as easy and great as it sounds. While yes, you can work in your pajamas on the beach sipping martinis all day long, really that's not going to be the most productive way to work. And many people find that as soon as you start working remotely, you realize your productivity drops and you struggle with a lot of things you don't struggle with when you work in an office. So in this video, I'm going to share with you all the tips and tricks I've learned over the last few years working remote, so that way you can enjoy the remote life without having to sacrifice any productivity. So let's get started now. Welcome back to Web Dev Simplified. My name's Kyle, and my job is to simplify the web for you so you can start building your dream projects sooner. So if that sounds interesting, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. Now recently, with everything that's been going on, a lot of people have been forced to work remotely that maybe have never worked remote before. I'm sure you may be in that situation, or you may be in the situation where people around you are working remotely that aren't used to it, and they are just making it more difficult for you because they aren't as productive or they're interfering with your normal remote work life. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing all the tips and tricks that I know so that you can be the most productive as possible while working remote, and also so you can help others that are working remotely by sharing this video with them if you found it useful. And the first tip that I want to give you, if you're just starting out working remotely, maybe you've never worked remote before, is to just treat life just like normal, as if you were going into the office. That means when you wake up in the morning, I want you to get ready fully, put on clothes, don't sit around in your pajamas and wait till noon to take a shower. I want you to get up, shave, put on clothes, take a shower, treat it as if you were going to work. Even dress up nice. If you normally dress up nice, take that moment to dress up nice and it'll make you feel like you're getting into that work mode. A lot of people on the weekends will lounge around in their pajamas and not get ready till later. And when you do that same thing on a work day when you're not used to working remotely, it puts your mind into relaxation mode, weekend mode, and you're not really in that work mindset. So by going through the motions of getting ready, getting dressed, showering, shaving, all of that stuff that you normally do in the morning, it's going to put you into your work mindset, which will make it much easier for you to sit down and start working without being distracted by all of that relaxation mindset by staying in your pajamas. And speaking on that same kind of idea of relaxation mindset, make sure that when you're working from home, you're not working in the same place that you normally do your leisure activities, which means don't go out into your living room and sit on your couch to work remotely. This is something that's going to make your living room and your workspace conflict, because now the living room where you normally lay back and watch Netflix, watch movies, whatever it is now the same place you're working in. So your mind is conflicted. It doesn't know, are you in a work environment or are you in a leisure environment? Because when you go to the office for work, your mind knows, okay, this is where I work. But if you're in the area where you normally relax, your mind thinks, okay, this is where I relax. So instead of being productive and working, your mind is constantly trying to tell you, hey, shouldn't you be relaxing? Why are you working? You don't normally work here. This is where you relax. So I highly recommend that you get yourself a dedicated place to work. This doesn't have to be a full-blown work-from-home office. You may not have one, but just having a simple desk or a chair or something somewhere where you go and that is where you work. Maybe in the guest bedroom. You probably don't use the guest bedroom in your house very often. Set it up so that it has a chair and a desk and use that as your office for work from home. Also, if you don't have a full-blown area like that, just take a table or a desk or something anywhere and move it somewhere in your house you don't normally go. Even if you're in an apartment, move this somewhere you just don't normally leisure. So maybe it's just stuck in a corner somewhere in one of your rooms. Wherever it is, just make it somewhere that is your workspace. That way, when you enter that area, your mind says, okay, this is where I work. And when you leave that area, your mind says, okay, I'm done working. Because that's a thing that a lot of people struggle with, is they struggle to turn off after they're done working. Because when you work at home and you also enjoy leisure activities at home, it blurs the line between work and leisure, and you don't know when to stop working and when to start relaxing. This is another problem with working in your living room. You may get into the mindset of, okay, this is where I work now, so you're really productive in that area, But then when it comes time to relax and watch some Netflix and enjoy the time, you realize that your mind is constantly thinking of work because you've associated your living room with work, when in reality, your living room should be associated with relaxation. So having that stark separation between work and enjoyment and making sure that you have two different areas that you do one activity versus the other is incredibly important. So now we've talked a bit about how you can set up your mindset and your environment to be successful and productive, and you may realize you just sit down and you start cranking through things hour after hour after hour, and before you know it, you realize you just sat down for 5, 6, 7 hours straight, you skipped lunch, you were just super productive. And while yes, this is good being productive, it's bad because it really kind of hurts your mental state and causes you to get into super work mode, when in reality, working remotely, you need to make sure that you take breaks. Because when you're in the office and you're working, people are going to walk by, people are going to talk to you, people are going to interrupt you, and those are nice frequent breaks, which you may not appreciate them when you're in the office, but really what they do is they help break up your mind and give you a little bit of a break, a little bit of time to communicate with others. Same thing with lunch. A lot of times you may eat lunch with a group of people at work, so that gives you a nice amount of time to relax and let your brain reboot. While when you're working from home, you have limited distractions, especially if you set yourself up in a good environment, which means that you can be really, really productive, but you don't have any of those breaks built into your environment, into your workplace. You need to incorporate your own breaks. You need to set your own breaks. So I highly recommend that if you're working from home, you take some time every couple hours, every hour, whatever it is, and just get up and walk around your house at the very least. Just walk around a little bit, get a glass of water, whatever it is, and just take a small break, 5 minutes, just so you have time to walk around, air yourself out, clear out your mind, and then get back to work. And I also highly recommend, if you're eating lunch, do not eat lunch where you work. Most of the time, it's really tempting just to go grab some lunch from your kitchen, bring it back to where you're working, and eat lunch while working. Do not do that. You need time to recoup your thoughts in your brain, so you need to eat lunch somewhere else. Eat lunch in your kitchen, eat lunch with your family since they're also all probably home. Just do not eat lunch in your work area. That gives you that break that you normally get a lot of times with eating lunch with other people when you're at work. Also, a great break, which I highly recommend, is going for a walk around your neighborhood or whatever it is. If you have the ability to, just going for a short walk, especially out in fresh air, is a great way to really just revitalize your mind and really get yourself going again, because just work really wears down your brain and it makes you less productive overall. Also, in a similar vein of communicating with people and having interruptions throughout your day, you'll notice when you work from home, you have very little communication with your coworkers unless you go out of your way to make that communication. You may have some written communication on something like Slack or email, but that's really not very good communication. Overall, it's very low-level communication and it doesn't feel very personal. It doesn't feel like you're really talking to someone. It feels more like you're talking to just a screen. So I highly recommend, if you're used to that normal communication in work, that you set up time throughout your day to just have some video chats with people that you work with. Maybe over lunch, you and a few other people you normally work with, just hop on a video chat, eat lunch together, and talk as if you were in the office. That's going to give you that mental stimulation that you need from other people and that social aspect of your work environment that you lack severely when you work from home. So just setting up video calls, whether it's during lunch, whether it's just randomly during the day, to just talk. It's not going to necessarily be work related. You just need to talk to someone to have that social environment. Not everyone needs this extra social level, but I know a lot of people really struggle working from home because they lack that social being. So just set up some video calls with your coworkers, with your friends, with whoever to make sure you have that good social interaction throughout your day. So far, we've talked about your mindset and environment. We've talked about communication and coworkers. And the last thing I want to talk about is boundaries. When you work from home, as I've mentioned before, it's really hard to set your boundaries between work and leisure. Where do you relax and where do you work? The line starts to get blurry because you're working in the same place generally as where you're relaxing. So you need to have some way to set boundaries. And one of the best boundaries that I think you need to set is a boundary related to when you work. Make sure you set a boundary saying, I do not start work until this time, and I do not work after this time. So you give yourself set working hours. Because while you're in the office and you're working along, you'll notice people slowly leaving throughout the day, going home, and that kind of gives you those mental cues saying, okay, it's my turn to go home as well. So you'll get up and leave and grab your stuff and go around that normal time everyone else leaves. But when you work from home, you don't have those mental cues. You're just working along 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and nothing ever tells you you need to go home. So you need to set your own boundaries saying, I am not going to work after this set time. Whatever time that is, you set it yourself. Just say, this is the latest I will work no matter what. And do the same thing with the earliest that you're going to work. Say, I'm not going to start work before a certain time. That way you have your work hours set and you don't accidentally mix your work and your leisure by letting your work spill over into your leisure time or letting your leisure time spill over into your work time. Another important thing to set boundaries with is going to be the people that live with you. Many of you probably have family members or roommates all living with you, and they're all also trying to work from home, maybe for the very first time. And that is a difficult situation. So making sure you set boundaries saying, this is when I'm working, do not bother me while I'm working unless it's important. Same way that they wouldn't come into your office and talk to you randomly, they shouldn't come into your work environment when you're working from home and talk to you and distract you. So make sure you set these boundaries saying, I am not going to be distracted during this time. Please don't talk to me unless you need to. And really setting up those rules is super, super important for making sure A, that you're productive, and B, that you don't overwork yourself. And with that, if you combine together all these different tips and tricks over the next coming weeks, I promise you that not only is your productivity going to skyrocket, but also your overall enjoyment of working from home is going to be at an all-time high. Also, if you feel that I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments below. Not only can I learn from these comments, but also other people can learn from your own experiences, and we'll be able to help everyone out as a whole. Also, you can check out my other videos, linked over here, and subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.